What up, y'all? Welcome to week 2 of training camp and the second, actually somewhat relevant episode of the Skolcial Network we've had. What is going on with the recording? It just says recording 4 seconds. It's been recording longer
Mine
than
says
that.
37. I think we're good.
Okay, just making sure. That was weird. Wanted to
Oh
make sure there
yeah.
wasn't an issue. Gotta love technology, but
Oh yeah.
we have a lot to talk about. Brev is still getting his news by carrier pigeon, um, since you're not on Twitter anymore. Still,
Oh no, it's fine. I love purple for the win.
anyways, so camp news, other than people constantly getting injured, largely been centered around the quarterback position. So we're just going to dive right into it today because the discourse mainly has been around JJ McCarthy and his performance so far. I think for the first couple days, I mean, I don't know, from what you saw in whatever the hell you're using, MySpace or something,
Mhm.
at least the first couple days, it was like back to back clips of JJ TD and then Darnold TD. And it seems like that's kind of cooled down.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, McCarthy's been the better quarterback, which is, you know, there was a silent few that were saying that McCarthy was much more NFL ready than a lot of people gave him credit for, and a good training camp isn't necessarily proof of that. But I'm just saying it helps the argument of whoever said that.
Well,
A long time.
maybe, I don't know, people might get credit later on in the episode. I don't know. Maybe
So
not.
true, so true,
Who
so true.
knows? So far from what you've seen, though, I know our point has been pretty consistent with what we thought would happen as far as
hmm
probably not seeing JJ till later in the season, if at all. Have you changed your mind out of curiosity?
I mean, yeah, because I was pretty vocal about even if he is ready, you should just sit him. But like, I can see where that's stupid because I honestly I thought Darnold was gonna tear training camp up. Like even when we signed him, I thought it was gonna be not a non-story, but I didn't think it would be this close. Slash McCarthy being better. I thought Darnold would look like a Hall of Famer in training camp, and then McCarthy would kind of just be trotting along. But it seems as if McCarthy has been the better player to this point, and I guess at this point, whoever is the better player, whoever gives you the best chances to win, which Kevin O'Connell has said 10 million times through various interviews and whatnot. I watched one this morning where he was with whatever his name is. I think he was the K fan, the Common Man.
I
Like
think so, yeah.
he would not. O'Connell would not close the door on saying that Darnold is for sure, or he wouldn't close the door on that McCarthy could be Week 1 quarterback. So like
Yeah.
it's still open.
And I think that's kind of been KOC's theme throughout. I know in his press conference earlier this week, and this has been the narrative that even people within our own fan base have been running with, but especially fans of other teams, like, oh, he's not even QB2, he's QB3. Well, somebody was like, hey, he's getting more reps for a typical QB3. And I believe KOC's response was something along the lines of, who said he was QB3? Did I say he was QB3? I think if you guys are watching practice, you can surmise what reality actually is. Not exactly at all what he said, but it was basically those points. Um, that it's pretty obvious that he is not QB3. And so that rumor of, oh, he's going to be the emergency QB, I think has already been put to rest. Even if that was the case, I would have understood it, not wanting to rush him out there based off Darnold getting hurt potentially. Um, but yeah, I think, and obviously we're having a conversation largely based off of phone recordings posted over the course of a week at practice against a depleted defense. I do not want to go into this having anyone misconstrued what either of us are saying at all. Um,
Well, no, what I'm
but
saying is that JJ McCarthy is going to be a Hall of Famer. That's
I did
exactly
have
what
a
it is.
I did have a meme that you missed out on the other day. The format of the guy choosing between the two buttons and sweating. I put the Vikings logo on the guy's head, and the options were stop overreacting to training camp or we drafted Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
Which, you know, not to overreact, but we drafted Patrick Mahomes
yeah.
clearly. That's what we've seen in 1 week's time.
Patrick Mahomes was the last quarterback before J.J. McCarthy taken 10th overall in his respective draft. So,
I did not realize he was the last QB to be taken 10, but now that I think about it, that does
mhm,
add up. I
yeah.
just I didn't
I
maybe
mean,
they're
if you
still
think
about that
about
10
it,
spot.
it's only what 6 years, so
What
not crazy.
wasn't Jake Locker taken at 10 or
Jake
Blaine
Locker.
Gabbert? I think there
Um,
was trying to remember that 2012 no,
Locker, I'm gonna say it
2011 we're
was
going to figure
2011.
this out.
Yeah,
2011, yeah.
I want to say Jake Locker was the fourth overall pick, and Blaine Gabbert was seventh or eighth. I could be totally wrong. That's just how I remember it.
It was close, but now I need to know this because even though it's completely unrelated, I
Oh
just
my
need to know
God,
that
Jake
history.
Locker was eighth, and Blaine Gabbert was 10th. So
Okay,
yeah, Gabbert.
I knew ball.
Yeah,
I knew ball because I remember being very close to the Vikings pick and wanting either of those two guys, and
yep,
then being like, "Well, we're not drafting a quarterback here, I guess, because
yeah,
who's there to draft?" I will say, in the time, I did super geek out about the Ponder pick because that was my quarterback of choice in NCAA football 2012.
hmm,
Um, he was just really OP in that game for some reason with the Seminoles. So, anyways, I will say this. I think that it's not just is McCarthy making impressive throws, which he is. Again, context, it's camp, it's against bad defense, whatever. Like, stop raining on the parade. The context of most of his success so far has been in red zone drills where the Vikings sucked last year. Like, we were
yeah,
not good in the red zone. I think that carries a lot of weight to the point where KOC even said today that he's going to start adding in additional looks and complexities to those red zone drills because he's doing so well. They need to increase the difficulty. And with that being such a massive missing piece of the team's success in production, I don't know, man. If he's really doing that well there specifically, it could move the needle.
yeah. And we don't really even have to be quick to say, oh, it's just a depleted defense and whatnot, because like it's still a Brian Flores defense, and it's still confirmed on multiple accounts that like they're going after him. That it's not his hand
And
being
it is the
stuck.
first team. It's the first
Exactly.
team.
Yeah. So if there's any there, I don't know if there's any better defense to go against, really. Just there's better defenses in the NFL than the Vikings. Obviously there's a lot of number, quantity, and quality of defenses than the Minnesota Vikings in the NFL, but in terms of the unprecedented rates of which the Vikings defense sends pressure, and unprecedented, I mean literally, it's, I don't want to say it's unheard of, but pressure we haven't seen in a long time, going off their 2023 pressure rates. Um, we don't have to be like, it's just an injured corner core, and it doesn't really matter. It's the offseason. They're not really trying. Like, yeah, they can't really touch him. They can't sack him, but he's still going up against that pressure, and he's still apparently, on all accounts, executing against it very well.
Here's a couple points on that because I agree 100%. The first is while the Vikings don't have the best defensive personnel, they probably are one of, if not debatably, the top schemes as
Mhm.
far as the mastermind behind the disguises, the blitz packages, whatever you want to say. Obviously, who's within that defense matters on the ultimate outcome, but I'd almost rather he go against a group similar to what we have, showing him a million different things and completely wearing and testing his quarterback IQ than just kind of a predictable defense filled with a bunch of studs. I think that this will his ability to kind of do the quarterback mathematics, so to speak, and problem solve. And he has enough mobility where he could get away from oncoming pressure more than what we've seen in the past. Um, I'll also say I, I'm talking myself into this as we go, like just logically. I don't think KOC would be pairing him with the second team offense against the first team defense if he wasn't really, really, really trying to test him now. And I don't think he would be. I still think he's trying to develop him. Obviously, that's a huge part of this, regardless. But I don't think he would be trying to test him so much if he wasn't at least open to the idea of him starting from the jump.
Yeah. And
It just doesn't make sense. Like there's so many other things you could be doing other than giving him the hardest possible situation he could face in camp.
yeah, and as fans, we all kind of got really tied to. I don't even want to say tied, but we kind of just assumed Darnold is the starter for sure, and I'm one of them. I'm not saying I didn't think that. I think that was like the perfectly logical line of thinking that even if McCarthy, again, we thought maybe he'd look good in camp. We wouldn't be shocked if he was like a little behind, like this is iffy. But he's doing better than Darnold in camp, and that's
Yeah.
where it's like. And I am one. I'm a million times I've said I can only take camp, but so seriously. But just all the signs and everything indicate toward McCarthy is probably ahead of where even the coaching staff thought that he would be. Not saying
And
he's a
that's
perfect
something
quarterback yet, but
that's very similar to something Dust tweeted the other day, being like, hey, like at this stage, we should be having the conversation of he's a rookie, he'll learn, everyone be patient. But instead, we're not. Like, whether he starts right away or whatever it may be, like that's still good news because you see what's happening in New England. Who would take Drake May at 3? What a reach! Could you imagine being
ugh,
like either them or even worse, a team that like orchestrated a historic trade to go up there and take Drake May just for him to be
no,
mid as hell?
no.
God, I'm so glad that
That's
nobody bet their legitimacy that that was the move the Vikings would and should make.
yeah, that poor bastard. That's is that it's almost as bad as going to sign the contract that you think you want for a team that you think wants you long term, but then they draft your replacement with their first round pick immediately as you ink your deal. How's he doing in camp, by the way? How's Michael Penix Jr. doing?
Apparently they're going like hit for hit. Like I
Good.
guess they've both been impressive and here's the thing. Like I'm not I'm not the biggest Kirk stan. I'm not the biggest Kirk hater. I think both of us, Brev, have made it clear we're kind of Kirk Switzerland. Kirkerland.
That's
We'll work on the name. Kirkland. Yeah,
Kirkland.
Costco Costco shout out.
Great brand.
Incredible. Use code Jason H at Costco. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But
Kirkland is the Josh Metellus of the
can
grocery store.
do everything.
Yeah.
Where was I going? I will say, like, people have been giving those of us. I think obviously some of it's memes and some of it's joking around. But there's truth to all humor to an extent. Um, that people are overreacting to camp with and overhyping McCarthy and things like that. I understand that you can't put a whole lot into it before we even see him in a preseason game, but let us be excited. There's a lot of really bad things that could have happened and a lot of really, really grim outlooks we could have potentially had. Given the risk that the front office took letting Kirk, putting their foot down with Kirk and letting him walk by not being able to orchestrate a trade up to the top 3 for one of the 3 can't miss guys. Like there could have been a number of ways right now we're in full panic mode, but instead we have stuff to be optimistic about. So yeah,
The,
I'm gonna over lean into the optimism side.
the best way that I can put it is it's way cooler to go 8-9 with a future And yeah, I know they don't really have draft picks that much this year, but again,
Who cares?
that can be figured out. It's way cooler to go 8 and 9 in that scenario with the future than it is to go 9 and 8 and do the same thing that you've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years and not really have that future as much.
Yeah. And we could have been in a position where, as many people thought could have happened, we were panic drafting Spencer Rattler in the second or third round, something like that, because everything went against us, right? Like, if the Giants, apparently the McCarthy stuff was a bit of a bluff if now that their draft board is leaked from Hard Knocks, but like, if they very realistically could have taken him, and not a lot of people had the Falcons taking Penix. You could have been stuck choosing Bo Nix out of necessity, or seeing what happened in later rounds. And instead, we're like, hey, this guy who a lot of people had fair pause on because of his lack of a lot of throwing opportunities in college seems to be like ripping it. Um, so I'm happy. I don't know.
This
Let
is
let us be happy, dude.
the
Shit.
situation is way cooler than it being 2 years ago and saying, "Hey, Kellen Mond,"
I thought
you
about this
know.
yesterday. I haven't thought about Kellen Mond in a very long time. Probably since the last time his name popped up, like getting signed to the Browns or wherever he was. I thought about Kellen Mond pretty like intensely, remembering that draft and that training camp, because I was trying to think back, like, what was the last time we were really watching a rookie quarterback in camp? And even more than Jaron Hall, I think it was Mond, because he was a third
He was a
round
third. He
pick.
was an early third round pick. He was one of the first picks of the third round.
Yeah. And, you know, we were weighing a lot on that. We were all looping that video of him from his pro day and the Chris Sims take of him saying he was going to be the best quarterback of that class.
Yeah, I mean, I think about Kellen Mond because I play college football a lot, and I see Texas A&M, and I'm like, hey, Johnny Manziel and also Kellen Mond. That's how I think about it.
Yeah, sounds about right. Well, we wanted to ask you guys on Twitter, but first, because I don't want to forget, um, couple exciting things. I'll just share the exciting thing. Brev and I, in a couple weeks, are working out the details. Hopefully it comes through. Everybody, Venmo Brev. We've been given a pretty cool opportunity that we'll be updating you guys on, but all I'll say is Brev and I might be eating some 99-cent slices in New York soon. Getting around some pretty cool people in the sports industry. Uh, as long as we can finalize the details, it's almost there. But we'll keep you guys posted on that. But excited for that, Brev. You've never been to New York, and you're
No.
gonna have to meet up with me in the middle of Midtown. How stressed are you about this prospect?
When you called me 2 days ago, I was looking at stuff for minimum 6 hours, and I had a headache and couldn't sleep that night. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I
Also,
will tell you that.
there's no way that those slices are still 99 cents. I just don't believe it.
So I'll tell you this: there are shops that exclusively are called 99-cent pizza, and it is the worst pizza on earth.
Yeah.
If you're able to make it out, I got my flight and everything booked. But if you're able to make it out 100%, um, we will go on the subway. We'll take about a
Mhm.
20-minute subway trip to Greenwich Village, and we will go to John's on Bleecker, one of the top rated. When the last time I went to New York, I just opened up the One Bite Pizza review app,
Yep.
and
Everybody
we
knows
went
the
to a
rules.
couple places. Everybody knows the rules. We went to a couple of them. That one was by far my favorite. It is the only pizza place in all of Manhattan that still has a true coal fire oven, because they had to get rid of them, but theirs is built into it's like structurally integral to the building, so they can't get rid of it.
Good.
Um, I'm very excited. You also got Los Tacos number one, which is cheap, incredibly good Mexican food in New York. And then trying to think, Papaya Dog, like $6, you get two hot dogs and a drink. So We're not spending $90 on dinner. Maybe we'll get fancy and go to the Olive Garden in Times Square or Applebee's
Ooh.
because that is completely on brand for us.
Yeah, dude's rock. You think? Well, maybe Michael Rubin will want to show us around New York City.
Oh, maybe. I mean, maybe that's a hint of what's to come.
Yeah.
But with that, going over to the Twitterverse. Now, I sent out a poll a couple hours ago. I sent it to Brev, screenshotted it because, again, no Twitter Brev. And he said, I don't really think anyone's going to vote on this unless everybody's. Wait, Oh, are you on the Skolcial account?
Yeah.
Nah. Hey, that's cheating. Okay,
Oh
admit to the
no.
people. Admit to the people, because I knew this was probably happening. How many times have you gone on the Skolcial account and used that as an excuse to check Twitter?
I mean, I think I logged into this account a couple days ago. I haven't been on it long, but I go on it when I'm writing to get tweets to embed them in there. I really don't check it that much. Like I
I
don't
don't
have Twitter
know.
on my phone or anything. I don't need to lie about it. Like I don't,
I
whatever.
don't know. Rev's been a little incognito on here.
Yeah, I got a burner, and it's
And
a
it's our
burner.
account. It's
It's a
it's
burner
our
account that
podcast account.
everybody knows I'm on. Yeah.
It's our podcast account. All right, so I asked, who should be the starting quarterback? Not who will, who or really, I guess, who do you want? I think we all kind of want to see the same thing, but who should be the starting quarterback week 1? I don't think it's you, Brev.
No, but I have a hand up moment. I want to admit to you. It has nothing to do with sex.
You can what?
I
You
want
can
to.
continue.
Okay, with sex
No, not
or
with
oh,
that.
um, I want to say so. You screenshotted this and sent it to me, and here it says for a chance to be in this week's social network. Um, and I thought that meant we were gonna have somebody on here, not
No.
just a mention. So I said, well, I hope whoever wins is unemployed or something because it's such a short
Oh,
notice.
you know what?
Yeah,
I think that is easily misconstrued, and I misconstrued your misconstruing. So
sorry.
to have your reply featured in, my bad. No, we don't want any of you Twitter people on here. Are you kidding me? I can hardly refresh my feed without seeing something gruesome and offensive. I don't want you on recorded video.
Especially
I
Janique
love you all.
Eckardit.
Yeah, we're from Germany.
Janique Eckardit.
He's gonna give us.
We don't want you
Yeah,
on here,
yeah,
Janique.
with your Nick Mullins propaganda.
Yeah.
So the results, we got 505 votes, which is kind of, it was only up a couple hours, so good for us on that, I guess. It's about what I expected, but closer than I think it would have been a couple of weeks ago. Is that fair to say, in your
Yeah,
opinion? I
for
think it's
sure.
significantly closer than what it was if we asked this before. Obviously, Darnold won because, again, the narrative and the plan that KOC's hinted towards and we've all ran with. You have to save the Edmund reply.
Oh, sorry.
What are you doing?
My bad.
What are we doing over here?
I'm sorry.
52.9% of y'all said Sam Darnold should start and 47.1 McCarthy. I think if we asked this question a couple of weeks ago, it could have been as extreme as like an 80-20 split.
Yeah, I think 80-20 is being nice, to be honest. I think it might have been like 85-15.
So you can say that we are within the margin of error for a legitimate quarterback controversy debate.
Legitimate. Yeah.
Legitimate?
Mm-hmm.
Damn it.
Please tell me
Um,
that
I
should
don't
be a
think so.
word.
No. So I have a Nick Mullins, a couple Jaron Halls. So thank you to the trolls. Shout out to the golf legend himself, Alex,
Golf
for
legend.
I guess you can call him that. All most of you know him as the Vikings run the league guy, as he has rightfully earned. Matt Shenander, Darnold. There is no reason to rush the JJ thing. or to rush this thing. Let JJ learn from two QBs, Sam and Nick, who have prepared for and started dozens of NFL games. Now, fair point, Matt, but Brev, over to you. Do you want JJ McCarthy learning from Sam Darnold and Nick Mullins? It's a
Ask
completely fair point,
ask the question one more. Ask the question one more time, just so we can like.
I think it's a fair point, but there's something about reading those names together that breaks my brain.
Yeah, I understand.
There's no reason to rush this thing. Let
My
JJ learn from two quarterbacks, Sam and Nick.
my computer died. Yeah. So I think. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and it makes sense. I
Yeah.
it's just, and we know those are the quarterbacks there, but like just reading it together, it's
Mhm.
just like,
It's a completely valid point, but like I don't want, and I'm like if JJ McCarthy's gonna go ghost hunting with Sam Darnold or something.
yeah, I
I
think that's
wouldn't
fair.
mind JJ McCarthy having some of that Nick Mullins style play, just like the.
To be fair, when we were pushing our pro Drake May agenda, part of the reason I wanted him was that he had a little bit of the bozo in him,
Mhm.
and I want JJ McCarthy to have much less bozo, but I do want a little bit. I want a little bit of a gunslinger mentality. He has the personality for it, and
Mhm.
I think if he comes into the league just slinging bombs like it's seemed he's doing in practice, I think it'll throw people off because most of their tape on how he runs an offense is him running the most conservative offense in college football.
Nick Mullins is awesome.
Just back to Nick
That's
Mullins.
all
I'm
I
like,
have
how
to
does
say.
this impact JJ McCarthy's legacy? Or like Nick, dude. All right, going
I think
over
I
to
think when we say we want a little bozo to the game, I think stripping it down, it means we don't want them, like if they go out and throw an interception, we want them to forget about it and stay aggressive. I think that
correct.
part of it is what that
And
means.
you need somebody. You need somebody
Lean on.
with a little bit of that Josh Allen, Brett Favre mentality of here's the situation. I'm going to play hero ball. What
Hmm.
you don't want is somebody who to Nick Mullins was playing hero ball every throw,
Hmm.
and that is hard to sustain.
Hmm.
Um, and it can go badly. Brett Favre, hero ball, end of the 2009 NFC Championship, and no, but
And he stole from
hopefully
four people.
that's also true. That was not hero ball, unless
Mhm.
you consider his daughter's volleyball team that he ended up financing, or no, he stole money from a volleyball. I forgot. There's a volleyball
He's
team
just a good
involved.
dad.
The only, we're gonna put that on a shirt. The only thing Brett Favre is guilty of is being a loving father.
Mm-hmm. Free him.
I think that would just make one, just every shirt's in yellow font, one on purple, one on green. I think that shirt would sell.
And if somebody asks about the pictures he sent to that Jets employee, I just ignore them.
No, that was the Jets quarterback.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
No, we're
Yeah,
talking about Green Bay Packers
yeah.
legend and Vikings
Viking legend and
myth.
Falcons legend too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
those
No,
Mark Sanchez.
that other guy played for the Jets.
That's Mark Sanchez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, don't. Hey, I got love for Marky Mark. Don't bring him down.
Too.
Anyways,
Underrated commentator, by the way. Go ahead.
this is a good one. Cannon said Darnold because it seems most top all-time QBs didn't start most of their first year. I don't know if that's true all time, but it does seem to be a trend that you could argue for recently. 100%.
And yet,
I
Tom
mean,
Brady, Pat Mahomes,
yeah, you can add Brady in there because a lot of times Brady gets compared to Manning, who I think Manning started right off the
man,
bat. He struggled, but he
Peyton Manning
started off the
had
bat.
one of the worst rookie seasons in like NFL history.
Yeah, I think he turned out
Yeah,
mid.
he was
He was
fine.
fine.
He was
Yeah, he was
decent.
okay. Justin Huffman. I like this reply a lot. And this is kind of where my head is starting to just every day creep more towards. Head coach said he wants the best player to play to put the team in a position to win games. If McCarthy is the top performing QB in camp right now and showing he can hang, why wouldn't he get the call? So we can all call for Sam's head 3 games in. Best player should play, which is a fair point, which is like the Vikings are aware, the staff's aware of the online discourse, which I think is why I don't know if you saw this, but there was a big conversation last week about them asking fans not to post videos. Um, but like they know if McCarthy shows out the rest of the camp and in the preseason, and Darnold is just not at the same level, like Darnold's gonna be getting ripped, even though he shouldn't be.
Well, that's the key thing at the beginning of that statement. I think I heard if McCarthy's better in camp, why wouldn't he get the call now? Well, that's because there's an entire preseason to play. So if McCarthy sucks in the preseason, which I don't think he will, I think he'll be okay. Then I don't know. There's a lot to decide before you give. And I know the entire question was like who should start now, but
Yeah. All right, our friend of the show and friend of the network who's in the network. I don't know why I said friend of the network, but Coda. I'm torn genuinely just because of the things coming out of TCO this camp. I think ultimately I want to see how JJ plays in the preseason game before I make my full answer. But for now, Darnold, which I think is, again, logical. But Coda, you know this isn't the logical podcast. What are we
yeah,
doing?
that was the most level-headed. Like, obviously, yeah, I think everybody would agree to that. But I want a little more stupidity.
Yeah,
So if
yeah,
we could say that McCarthy will go into the preseason and throw 8 interceptions in his first game, and that Sam Darnold won't throw seven. So therefore, that is why Sam Darnold is the starter. Then that would apply to the Skolcial network. But you were a little too much logic going on right
yeah,
now.
yeah. Coda's an actress, so I'll give you some notes on the scene. Do it again, but with more stupidity, because
Yeah.
you were too smart. You were too smart to be featured on this podcast, Coda. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
even though you were on like a month ago.
Yeah.
Here's a good one from Nick Hassel. Nick, I'm gonna just be honest, a little bit of a cop out. Can't answer yet. Too early in the process. Fair.
Pussy.
Thank you for the reply.
Pussy.
No, no, no,
Oh.
no. We're not doing that to our hardcore supporting fans. But a little bit of a cop out, but also again logic and
Hey Nick,
logic is
you are what you eat, okay?
dear
And you're a
God.
pussy. But
All
I
right,
think that is a plenty valid response, Nicholas. Thank you.
fax teller, but spelled FAX.
Ah,
No need to rush one of the league's youngest QBs. Also, that interior offensive line will get him killed. You don't want that, ideally. Uh, but yeah, hopefully we can
I mean,
not have that be an issue.
it's not 2020. The interior offensive line is like, okay, it's fine.
Next up, at 707 DJ, aka my favorite username on this app, Splash Ketchum. Incredible.
Nice.
Well
Good one.
played.
Very clever.
Very simple answer for him. Darnold, we got to pump the brakes on the JJ hype because I feel like he still has a lot of learning to do as far as the nuances of the game, which is fair, something hard to simulate in camp. Plus, our interior line would get him killed. Seems to be a common theme.
Guys,
Um, uh,
it's not 4 years ago. Like the interior offensive line is fine. Like it's not
it's
great.
fine.
It's
Garrett Bradbury did get absolutely bullied by Harrison Phillips
I mean,
the other day.
I'm not shocked. I'm not saying it's a Hall of Fame interior. I'm saying it's not Zimmer era interior offensive line. Like it's okay.
All right. Blake Howell, it will be Darnold, but it should be McCarthy.
Interesting response. Very level-headed. But that's not welcome here.
Edmund just posted a picture of Sam Darnold. Totally didn't Photoshop his face on it. Even if he did, we couldn't tell the difference.
No, no.
Hmm. There's a couple other good ones here. I mean, just to spoil the very obvious theme, is most people are saying Darnold for now. Purple Pennsylvania,
Mm.
parentheses, PP for short. Well played. McCarthy, when you start a new job, do you learn more at orientation week or when you actually get thrown to the fire and have to figure it out? People worry about damaging young QBs by playing them early, but I would argue that the greats can withstand adversity early on. I mean, you look at somebody like Stroud, like that team wasn't automatically like that team had the second worst record in the league the year before. Like he did not come in. I don't know if did he start from week one or did he start like a couple of weeks in? I think he started from week one.
Pretty
No.
sure he started immediately.
Yeah. And I think it's all these points are fair if they're
Yeah, I
good.
don't like it.
But I was hoping 100% people would say McCarthy and Kevin O'Connell would have responded with like eyes emojis. That would have
Yeah.
given me quite a hint.
Hmm.
Um, Jordan Addison season. McCarthy, because I'm going to the game and want to see his debut. That
Drive
is the
safe.
type of emotional decision I am looking for. I
Yeah.
want us to put our franchise in the hands of what we want to see as fans purely for entertainment purposes.
And if you're a Jordan Addison super fan, please, if you're going to the game, just drive with caution.
Tyler.Skull, aka Slap into Bass. Darnold, because he looks like at Edmund.
Slap at the bass, man. Great movie. I love Tyler. Good guy.
Nas Reed fan. McCarthy, because I hate gingers and JJ's aura is unmatched.
There we
So now
go.
we have
See,
shots at Edmund. See,
that's
these are
what
the
we
types.
need.
This
That's
is the
what we
type of
need.
logic.
Thank you.
Jake, Vikings fan 26. JJ McCarthy, because Brevin Bain is my prophet.
Yeah.
You got to mention without even being on Twitter.
Yeah. First off, Jake, like get a job. Second of all, do you know what we call? Do you know what we call Brevin Bain being a prophet? You know what we call that? Revenue. Because I'm a prophet.
All right, we'll see you guys next week or never again after that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking here, looking for some more.
It was a play on words.
I know. It was actually very well done, but I'm
Thank you.
infuriated.
Mm-hmm.
McCarthy, because I want something to look forward to in the season from
There you go.
Benjamin. That's
Good.
see.
Good one.
Um, my at Skull Jettas, aka my KOC, is going Quasi as the username.
Jesus. I don't like this already.
JJ because
All right,
great insight.
he got me.
Great,
Yep.
he pulled.
We
Just
yeah.
you had
His
us in the
Trinity
first
got
half. Not
me.
gonna lie.
Yeah. All right. That was good. That was good.
And then lastly, JJ to JJ 2K. Well played name. Although we're not allowed to call Justin Jefferson JJ anymore. He made it very clear.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't want it. Although it's just the JJ to JJ branding. You can't.
Yeah.
Shout out Crack Rock again. We haven't talked about Crack Rock in a minute. I
Mm.
know that was going to come up either way, that name, but him talking about the JJ to JJ connection, chef's kiss.
It's beautiful.
Hitting us with a lot at stake here, man. JJ McCarthy, because I bet $5 with my friend that he would pass for 4,000 yards his first full year as a starter, and I don't want to wait an extra year.
Uh, okay, so at first I liked it because gambling is awesome, and like it's cool to bet with friends. But like $5 is such a weird amount for a season long thing that I don't.
That is an incredibly tall task for
Yeah.
JJ to do in his first full season.
But like,
You know what? We have a controversial take I'm going to add in after this.
good, good.
Mike, just Mike and then a cookie emoji. Username at Mike Obel. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name there,
This
Mike,
guy
or
sounds
your
awesome
username.
already.
Oh, you're not going to like this. Darnold, period. JJ is a bust and should never see the field.
Well, at least he's hopeful. It sounds like he's. I love an opinionated man. He likes cookies and he will judge his quarterback. I mean, I'm assuming he's a Vikings fan, and it's fine to like.
Yes.
I understand wanting to be realistic, but maybe let's get past August 2nd before we're saying that of the rookie year.
Yeah, I mean, especially because like the news so far has been good.
Yeah, but also it's kind of awesome to just say that, so I respect it at the same time. I can't be too mad.
And well, let's. I can't end on that one. We were ending
Yeah,
on a funny one, then we ended on the controversial one. Now we got to end on a reasonable one,
like
coming
ending in
from
missionary.
TJ Archer, MN McCarthy. If he continues to training camp or preseason games, is the better option than just start him. If he's better than Darnold already, I see very little benefit in trotting out a QB who isn't as good just because it was the original plan.
Too logical.
I too logical, but also I 100% agree with everything he said.
Yeah, I 1,000,000% agree with it, and I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. I $5, man. JJ McCarthy has to like throw for more yards in his first year than any quarterback in the history of the Chicago
Yeah,
Bears.
that's what I
And
was
you
thinking.
win $5?
Yeah, and that's on top of your original steak. So call that $10. What you could maybe get like a Subway meal, like a 6 inch and some
Not
chips.
anymore. Yeah, yeah, maybe a six
Not a
inch
foot
sandwich
long.
about right. Yeah. We're not in the good old days.
Yeah, back when never mind. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So we maybe let's preface next time we need stupider responses because like there was just too much sense being made in these.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
people like
guys,
let this
it's
be your outlet.
this is the time to have like if you think draft season and free agency were time for
Mhm.
reckless speculation. Shout out Score North. Sorry. They just play that every time they do it and
That's the worst.
it was the worst. I
Shut
feel
the fuck
terrible.
up.
Shout out to them by the way. They just won an award for being one of the top radio-based podcasts in the country, which is really sick. Phil posted it. So, shout out to our boys over there. But like this is the time where like we talked about last week. Oh, two corners got hurt. Trade next two first round picks for Sertan. Just
Hmm.
this is the time because unlike the draft or free agency, there's actual on-field football happening that just makes the desperation that like you're there
Yeah.
and it makes the desperation and the craziness that much more real.
Yes. I want the answer to McCarthy or Darnold week one. I want your answer to be, well, I think we should still hold out hope for Lewis Seen. That's what I want in a response.
Well, you need to come back to Twitter and corral people towards the correct like people have gotten too logical since you've left Twitter. I think that's the issue.
Well, I'm glad
You're
that happened
letting
after
logic
I left.
win. You're letting logic win.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like logic to a point, but if people are, yeah, I can't control people.
I think you can. Because when you were on Twitter, just coincidentally, everyone was a lot more angry.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I know. I, I don't know. I like my mix of my logic and my stupidity because my monotone ass voice that I've brought up multiple times on here makes it hard to figure out when I'm being stupid.
It does.
Mm-hmm. It's
I
good.
just
It's nice.
I
Should
just
be
assume you're always stupid and I never feel let down.
pretty much. It's a
So,
good
yeah.
assumption.
So the next 2 weeks are going to be interesting. I will need to talk to you, Brev, about when we're recording next week and from where, because I will be in Denver. Um, I will totally not be sneak watching parts of the preseason game during the wedding ceremony for my sister-in-law.
Mm,
Won't be happening. But maybe I'll record out there, and then we got to finalize the week after that. But probably foreshadow there likely won't be a traditional episode in 2 weeks, but there will be something. Probably a vlog, probably a lot of shorts, and stuff
khaki
coming your
shorts.
way. Oh, I will be wearing khaki shorts. I went to the first time I went to New York was in June. Um, I think, and this is just what I'm preparing myself for. I think it's going to be worst being in New York in August than it is in Phoenix in August, and it's
No,
110
yeah,
degrees here.
yeah. It's just
Oh,
the, New York's a parking lot.
oh, it's more than a parking lot, sir. It is a sewer. Brev gets anyone who's gone to New York, especially during the summer, knows exactly what I'm about to talk about, and you 100% will just get the PTSD from this. When you come up through the subway for the first time in New York, especially in the summer, you get hit with what I call floating urine because
Mm,
it's humid and the smell of trash and sewage fills the air. So it is
good.
literally like you are walking through urine humidity.
Oh, great. It's
It's
like
inc-
I've never been to Ford Field before. Get it? Because
well played.
Detroit,
It's
it's
yeah.
notoriously an awful city or something.
I've seen people call that field the litter box for a long time. But we'll talk. We'll talk our crap when it's time again. I'll
Is
let
that
them have
because the
their little moment of
Vikings
this.
shit on the Lions for 30 years,
I think it's because they did that to themselves.
or is it because the lion itself is a feline
It's,
animal?
yes,
We got there.
and because they just crapped all over the field every time.
That is true. I miss Jim Schwartz.
Hey, speaking of Lions and crapping themselves, Dan Orlovsky, shout out to Danny Boy, giving the Vikings more credit than almost anyone in sports media has saying this week. He thinks the NFC North will be really good and that the Vikings are going to actually be a very good football team.
Notorious farter, Dan Orlovsky.
That's one of those videos I saw once and thought about for like a couple days, just giggling and then immediately erased from memory.
Mm-hmm.
And
Or
that's why he
fart.
was on the Lions. It's
True.
the theme. We're really connecting the dots here.
Pro
All
fart
right.
podcast.
What'd you just say?
I said we're a pro fart podcast.
Oh yeah. Talk about I don't know, I was gonna make a joke about gassing ourselves up, but I
No,
forgot where I was
that would have
going.
been good. You should have done
It
it.
would have been well, I kinda did. With that, we will see you guys in some way, shape, or form next week. Could be midweek, could be our normal day. I don't know. Brev and I got to have a conversation. But please stay on the lookout for Brev's potential return to Twitter. Again, hashtag bring back Brev will definitely influence his decision.
Hopefully that movement doesn't fall flat, Chulins.
It's really proud of what we put together here at this production.
Yeah, we are.
We'll see you
We're
guys.
just a bowel of laughs.
You're getting a little too cheeky for me.
All right,
We'll
I'm
see you
done.
next week.
Go ahead.
Goodbye.